Hi, Jim Ziegler, the Alpha Dog, and another thrilling broadcast. I'm excited about it. Today, we're going to talk about Facebook advertising. Now, one of the trends that's happened recently in the car business, one of the current ongoing trends is people are dropping their third-party lead providers and starting to organically and pay-per-click manage their own destiny, driving their own traffic. And I've got one of the ultimate experts in our industry from Dealer Authority, my friend. Here he comes. Hang on one second. Jeff Glackin. Hey, Jeff, how you doing?
Good afternoon, Jim. Thanks for having me. Happy Friday.
Oh, yeah. It's always a happy Friday.
Hell yeah.
Usually every day I wake up is the best day of my entire life.
My cat decided to join.
You got a cat in the video. Okay, no problem.
The perils of working from home.
Okay, today, Jeff, I want to talk about Facebook advertising. I want to talk about how to do it. I want to talk about what kind of results people are getting. Third-party lead providers, there's a current trend in the industry where people are abandoning that concept. Third-party lead providers are like dinosaurs being sucked down in the tar pits, eating their last brown shriveled leaves off the trees. I mean, the results just aren't there. Tell me what you're experiencing. Dealer Authority, advertising marketing agency, digitally certified. Tell me about what's happening.
Yeah, so we specialize in search and social, but I'm with you. What you're talking about with the third parties, and I can't completely dump on them because dealerships have to do what they have to do to be successful, right? But it's way better when they take that success in their own hands instead of hoping that the company they've trusted does it for them, right? So like with third parties, Auto Trader, Cars.com, Car Gurus, you don't have any control over that. It's just a faith type thing, or they almost get addicted to it. Like I can't be successful without my third parties. That's
I've heard dealers say I can't be successful without Auto Trader, and then later on they no longer have that third party, and they're saying, "What was I doing? Well, nothing changed."
Yep. Yeah, I've had some crazy conversations like that lately. Digital marketing manager I was talking to the other day, they did away with Auto Trader. Not to pick on any one of them, but I mean, this particular case, it was Auto Trader, and they didn't miss a beat. They were tracking it. They did away with it. They didn't miss a beat in their sales. They were confused. Like, man, I was spending $6,500 a month. How could I not miss a beat after doing away with it? But then they had some turnover, right? And so the decision maker changed out, new GM, and he looks. He's like, "Where's Auto Trader? I have to have Auto Trader.
Have to have it. Addicted to it."
We just got rid of it and didn't miss a beat. And he goes, "I don't care. I have to have Auto Trader." So they turned it back on because he's calling the shots. But you see him doing that kind of stuff, $6,500 a month. I've seen much worse than that on these third parties, and then they're doing nothing on Facebook, not a dollar, or very minimal.
Plus, they're taking your data, and Lord knows what they're doing with it, who they're selling it to, where they're redistributing it. And I'm talking about most of the lead providers, if not all of them, are basically siphoning off the dealer's customer data.
Right.
Not only on your website, but on your incoming leads, on your CRM, and on your DMS.
Oh yeah. So, well, and in how many cases now is all of that owned by the third party? Cars.com. What do they own, and what do they control? Dealer Inspire. They own the keys to your castle. They they're controlling your website and all the data that comes in it. And I'm not saying they're doing anything with it, but I mean, you do kind of have to think, who are you in bed with?
If it walks like a duck and quacks, it might be a duck.
Auto Trader is the same thing. It's owned by Cox. So
exactly.
And all of that.
Well, anyway, let's get down to Facebook. Now, Facebook has yielded some uncanny great results, highly economical. what does a dealer need to do to get in on that?
Jump in. Just, I'd say, and obviously I talk to dealerships every day, and this is, one of the hot topics I talk with them about, and it's, just get in there, create an account, create an ads account, get familiar with what's available in that ads account, and set up payments in there.
Okay, first thing you need to do is set up how it's going to be paid for. You need to go into set up an ads account for the dealership.
Yep.
Okay, now they've got the ads account. They got all their information in there. They're approved. They're ready to go. What's the next step?
Generate the pixel. There's a Facebook pixel. That thing is highly important. There's a lot of things you can do once you have that installed, and it's continuously collecting data that you can use in other ads and other strategies. So that's what I would say. Once you create your ads account, get familiar with that. It's not difficult, and that's one of the things. It's funny because like Google AdWords, most dealerships won't even attempt to manage their AdWords, but Facebook makes it so easy to spend money that they confidently jump in, and I see it as the same. I think Facebook's actually more complex than Google. There's much more targeting. There's many more options. Not dumping on Google either, but most of our clients are funneling money away from Google AdWords and towards Facebook.
I have seen that trend, and one thing I always tell dealers: hire a professional agency to do this. I always say, maybe you've got an employee that is good at this, but employees come and go. Get a really good agency. Now, Google certified. How important is that?
Yeah, it's definitely something. There's something to that. It means that you've jumped through the hoops you need to jump through, which is just like a diploma. A college degree. It's what you do with it after that. But I don't hate on the certification programs and stuff, but just like Facebook Blueprint, I never went through the trouble of going through that. Obviously, I went through the content and things like that. It's all about experience and learning. And it reminds me of a conversation I had with a GM just yesterday. He jumped in all in. I mean, he saw the power of Facebook and knew that it was going to be something big. And I mean, he's spending thousands a month on his own, which is incredible because a lot of dealerships, can't wrap their head around that. I'm talking, he was cracking 10,000, but he was using the boost button, and but he was still seeing results. You will, because you're spending money, but Facebook made a lot of changes, stepped away from data and stuff. So the targeting's really weak if you're just using Facebook targeting. And so that's how I got the conversation with him. He's like, I know how powerful it is, but something happened and I'm not getting the results I used to. I'm spending a ton of money. I know what I'm doing. And, I kind of laughed. I'm like, you're missing the most important piece, and that's the data, the targeting data. What kind
of information does the targeting data give the user?
Depends on where you get it. But so like we have a partnership with Oracle. We get credit score data. I can target people by credit score or exclude credit scores, all the income demographics, in-market behavior, people that have been to Auto Trader, Cars.com, Car Guru.
Whoa, slow down, big boy. Whoa. Hey, you're dealing with a high school graduate here. A lot of information. So credit score, you can target, say I wanted somebody with a 620 or greater credit score.
Yep.
I could isolate that traffic.
Yes. With the right data. Not with standard Facebook data. And that was a piece I was going to get into. So, creating the account is the first step, setting up billing so you can spend money through there. Don't use the boost button. This guy was, like I said, he was spending over 10 grand using the boost button, which I was blown away by.
I have been known to use the boost button. I'm guilty.
Well, and it works. I mean, it does work, but Facebook charges a convenience fee. You're not going to reach as many people. You're not going to get the results you would as if you set it up in Ads Manager. That's the biggest thing. And just organizing your ads. It's just way better to step away from the boost button and learn how to use Ads Manager. So like for timeline type stuff, instead of hitting the boost button, you can go in, create a timeline specific ad, and then when you post, say you throw up a new post on your timeline, you go into Ads Manager, select creative, and you pick that latest post, and boom, you're up and running.
Now, what are you posting on Facebook? What are you doing?
So on the timeline, we typically use that to endear the dealership to the community. We're doing so much selling through the ads that we it's part of our strategy is we're building relationships on the timeline. We're talking about the manufacturer, the dealership itself, and the people within it, or the community and the dealership's involvement in the community. That way, you're not constantly selling, and it's amazing the conversations you can get on the timeline and the referrals we see just from sharing, something other than sales information. It happens all the time. And when you're answering those comments or engaging in those conversations, it's triggering something within the community. You start getting that word of mouth stuff. Like, those conversations happen all the time. You're meeting friends for beers or something, and one of them's late, and he's like, "Oh, my car! I'm sick of that thing. I got to get a new car." Oh man, you should deal with Ziegler Motors. I interact with them all the time on Facebook.
There is such a thing as Ziegler Motors,
Oh, I know. I know. It's funny.
Oh wow.
But yeah, so anything you put on the timeline can and should have money behind it. Facebook stripped away any organic reach. I tell dealerships that all the time. I do digital evaluations, and I'm like, hey, I'm seeing a ton of effort on your Facebook page. I'll give you credit for that, but you're getting zero reward for that effort because you're not spending any money. You're not putting money behind this effort, and so you lose every time. It's like not posting at all. So, and like with our clients, we don't recommend spending more than $150, $200 a month on the timeline activity, and then put everything else all in on ads.
I have a dealer, Larry Little, West Memphis, Tennessee. He thought boosting was the whole secret to Facebook.
I just saw that, Larry Little.
Larry, we just blew you up. I'm sorry, big guy, but
Well, and he's not wrong. Hell, if somebody told me, no, you know what, Jeff, I don't want to deal with all this stuff you're saying. I don't want to set up a timeline ad. And the only way you're going to get him to spend money on Facebook is hitting the boost button, then have at it, man. But I'm telling you, you'll reach more people and you'll get more for your money if you do it through Ads Manager. And it's the right way to do it.
Well, you're not the only one that's told me that, but I have been guilty of hitting the boost button on my conferences. Substantial spend.
It's definitely easy.
Amazing. Okay, continue on the journey.
Yeah, so talked about the timeline ad, putting money behind that. The next is just getting familiar with the types of ads available to you. Like, when this thing first fired up, Facebook advertising, and that carousel ad came out, I thought that was the coolest thing ever. I'm like, you got to be kidding me! Like scrolling through all these windows, and they still look, I still think they look cool, but they don't perform very well. And it's the most common form of ad you see with these like co-opable type dynamic ad providers, and it's because that's the type that's available for dynamic. It doesn't mean it's the best for you. And actually, if you go into Ads Manager, most of the time you can't even select that as a style. Being that most of the traffic comes from mobile, collection ads perform really well, way better than carousel. And that's a point to hit home. You should be measuring everything. And if you're not doing it, you should be able to see how it's being done and how it's performing. Like I said, Facebook makes it very easy to spend money. Getting success out of it, true success, takes effort, and it takes monitoring. You have to kind of review that, because if you only looked at Facebook's performance metrics, they have a really, really good way of making you feel great about everything that's happened in Facebook. Hey, I got 1,000 clicks on that. You got to be kidding me. And I spent $25 or whatever, But you go to analytics and really dive in on that, and bounce rates 85%, time on site 7 seconds. Like, I see ads that way. I see these dynamic carousel ads with 7 seconds time on site, average time on site. That's terrible. Like, what are you getting? So that's a big one, no matter who does it. If you're doing it, and I'd encourage you to try it. Get in there, nose around, and try it. But you gotta be able to measure it, and not through Facebook. Measure it through analytics, which is another thing. So you have to get familiar with coding, like UTM codes. We code every single ad so we can break them down individually in analytics. So you're not just going to see Facebook all lumped together. We can break it out by ad and see, how's the new car ad doing? How's the used car ad doing? How's this doing?
As a dealer, now, me personally, I have to call somebody to help me load a program onto the computer. I mean, I can operate the technology, I just can't fix it or load it or program it. What about the dealer? What does the dealer need to look at? What do they need to do? Who do they need to hire? I know they need to hire you or somebody like you. Well, there's nobody like you. Anyway.
That's what I keep telling everybody, but nobody's buying it. There is nobody like me. I'm unique.
I'm telling you are authority now. But I have preached over and over again to hire a digital agency. But no, let's pretend the dealer did not hire a digital agency. They got some superstar in the BDC trying to do this themselves. They got an internet manager. They got somebody trying to handle this. What does the dealer need to look for?
Yeah, so I mean, that's definitely capable. I deal with dealerships that they do everything in house. There's pieces there that are still missing, like a lot of big groups will do SEO on their own. They'll have in-house people to do that, and but they're doing the content side of SEO, and they can't really do the link side, or there's pieces missing to that. And that's one of our specialties, is kind of filling those gaps. Like, I don't have prefigured packages and it's all or nothing type thing. It's like, oh, okay, well, you've got a good handle on the content side of that. Looking at this and that, you're missing these pieces. What would it look like working together on that? Like,
well, most people, me included, generally seem to, when you think of SEO, you think of AdWords, you think of, you're smirking at me. You're smirking at me, man. You generally think of content. You think of how many relevant words you can cram into a sentence and make it still look like it's conversation.
Yeah, that's pretty old school. That's, you still see it. You still see it all the time. But
yeah, that's why I brought it up.
Yeah, well, and part of what when I sat down and thought about you and I talking together, it's it's leaning on your partners. Like, dealerships have plenty of vendors, so like I could see somebody in house being able to handle most of this. The big piece that's missing is the data and experience and stuff like that typically, but you need help with strategy, things like that. You've got plenty of vendors. Like, we help our clients all the time with stuff we're not even contracted to do. Just give them advice, consult with them, kind of point them in the right direction. But I was talking the other day Equifax. A lot of dealerships use them. You can get some of this targeting data through Equifax. Talk to your rep about it, or lean on some of your vendors, see what gaps they can fill for you. But and a lot of cases when I come across, I'm prospecting, dealers like, I've got somebody in house, and then you start talking about what that looks like and what they have on their plate and things, and then looking at the ads and kind of pointing some things out. It doesn't have to be an all or nothing is what I'm saying. Like a lot of times we'll get into a dealership with full blown Facebook services, handling the entire presence, posting the timeline, running the ads and everything. But all the while we're partners, so we're sharing everything we're doing. We're our point of contact.
So your company basically works with the people in the dealership at what level they're operating. You're filling in all the gaps. You're working as a partner with them rather than trying to do the whole thing in their behalf in many cases.
Yep. Yeah. And educating them along the way. So we've lost some business from that, but we've also gained plenty of business just from, the referrals of, man, we started working with Dealer Authority. I got to the point where I was confident handling this piece. So, we separated that part of the business away from our relationship. But, when you do the right thing, it's always going to come back and pay off tenfold. So we're never worried about educating our clients because, it just makes them stronger, which makes our relationship stronger. And so this type of stuff, I throw out, there's no real secret sauce. I hate that phrase too. I can't believe I just said it, but
secret sauce.
Yeah, secret sauce. I want fancy sauce.
Well, unfortunately, most of the dealers are leaning to co-op, and I don't even know if Dealer Authority is co-op approved or not. But I'm going to tell you right now, so many of the co-op vendors are dog crap. Did I say that? Dog crap. So I mean, there are some really terrible digital vendors that are approved for co-op. Somebody's taking money under the table. I'm telling you right now, just incredible that some of the co-op digital agencies are the worst in the business. So, I'm telling dealers to take a look at, there's one thing I say about these digital agencies: don't listen to double talk, don't listen to attribution, don't listen to influence. Show me the money. Show me the money. Yeah, I love it. There you are.
Yeah, well, and, you've seen, really good companies jump into that co-op game, and then suddenly, they're not the same company anymore. They're one of the worst to do business with, and it's not completely their fault. You know how co-op works. The OEM gets their piece, the middleman, typically Shift, gets their piece, and the vendor's left with their third. So margins are super thin, which causes them to start outsourcing. Yeah, I mean, it's an ugly every time it's ever brought up. Hey, have you guys ever thought about getting into this Ford program or whatever? I'm just like, I get all shivery, like, please, Tyson, please don't even.
Generally the worst is General Motors, in my opinion, but still in all.
Yeah, I was in a meeting with, I won't say their name, but you can figure it out. It was the biggest website company in the industry. The CEO stood there in front of all 700 employees and said, sell into the individual dealers for the sucker. We're on these OEM programs and full steam ahead on those. Like, I was shocked by that, but not everything co-opable is bad. Like, we were able to provide information to a lot of our clients that allows them to co-op, but we're not into any co-op programs. It just, especially like SEO. I mean, how how does that work? Like, the SEO needs to be exclusive, but if you're in an OEM program, it has to be available to everyone. Like, and then it's just a mess. You know, OEM doesn't want you competing with the same brand down the street. You know, you can't compete with any of your, you know, Chevy can't compete with Chevy and stuff like that. It's doesn't make any sense to me.
Makes no sense at all.
Focusing on Facebook and the topic we're talking about, you can go to your Facebook page, go to page transparency, tells you everything that's going on. You can even see the ads. You can do this with your competitors too. Go look at your competitors' ads and get ideas from them. See what they're doing, see what's being done on their behalf or whatever. But it'll also show you where the people are that are working on your Facebook ads. And I see Serbia, Iraq, you know.
What? Wait.
Oh yeah.
It's all being outsourced. Serbia, Iraq, China,
all over the place.
India. There got to be some Indians in there somewhere.
Oh yeah. And there's also some unknowns. It's so bad they won't even list it, so it's listed as unknown.
So in other words, we've got companies that you assume is an American-owned, American-operated company outsourcing to marginally known people. And
yeah, and it's like I asked the question not to get, you know, in a pissing match or don't. It just kind of I want it to point to the quality. You know, what does somebody in Serbia know about marketing vehicles to the American public? You know, they hate Americans, you know, or whatever. You know, it's like, I don't want to get political, but you know, it's true. It's like, what does that know, and what kind of control does the company have on somebody that far away in different countries?
You're telling me, and I'm going to take your word for it, that some of our vendors that are trusted vendors, even in the co-op programs, are outsourcing. You know, we've seen some major layoffs recently. I'm talking about some of the biggest people in the game have been laid off hundreds, if not thousands, of their employees, and they're picking up foreign programmers and just outsourcing. Is that what you're telling me?
That's been going on for a long time, long time, and you know, I think a lot of it is forced by, you know, it's just like anything else. You know, you thin down the vendors' margins like that. You know, probably can't afford American workers. You know, it's like, you gotta make some profit in there. And you know, all of our employees are employees, and they're U.S. Located in the U.S. But I just think that makes a quality difference. And so I get it. You know, you gotta get co-op dollars. You gotta play the game sometimes and stuff. But that's pretty rough when you can point things out like that, and then point out, you know, problems with the ads, problem with the targeting, get them to look.
I've had dealers tell me basically, and I'm going to paraphrase, well, Jim, I know my results are crap, but the factory is paying half of it.
Yeah. Yeah, Jeff, I get it. I mean, that guy in Serbia is probably not doing a great job, but I mean, it's free. It's like, no.
Unbelievable. What about Facebook Marketplace?
From what I've seen, I mean, I talk to people all the time. They feel like they see a lot of success there. It depends on what part of the game you're, right? Like for secondary finance and stuff, you can get some great opportunity in there. That's mostly what you're going to get lead wise. I see dealerships funneling through 1,000 just terrible quality leads to get to, you know, a dozen deals out of it or whatever. We don't play in that arena.
What about now? Be careful here. What about texting? Now, you and I shared a story, and I don't want to name the company, but recently you got a story on a texting result. What was that all about?
Yeah, it's it sounds really, really good. to be able to lob one text in, immediately to 1,000 people. That's going to appeal to most GMs and sales managers. Like, hell yeah, hit them all. How many times can I do
It
that?
generates a lot of responses.
What's that?
Does it generate a lot of responses?
Sure. Oh yeah. But from what I see, you have to sift through a lot. And a lot of times they're offering a BDC. There's multiple companies that do this. I'm not picking on any one company, but you got a question too. It's like, all right, so you've got your own BDC funneling through this, but I've got a team of salespeople. Why can't my salespeople? What's up with the leads that I'm not going to have my own salespeople chase them? Why the middleman kind of thing? That's my thing. But so I've seen accounts spending 15 grand in that arena.
15 grand on texting. So they're hiring a company that specializes in texting.
Yeah.
They spend 15 grand in a month. What kind of results did they get?
They got a lot of leads, or what they call leads, like 1,600 leads.
Okay, so 15,000 generated 1,500 responses.
Yeah, 10% of that turned into an appointment. Less than half of that showed. So they got like 160 appointments. Ended up with 60 shows, and we're able to attribute 5 sales to that.
Okay, 60 people showed up and only 5 of them actually took delivery.
I think that's all they could get done. Like, it sounded like it was pretty rough quality.
So we're definitely, you get a lot of responses, but it's a bottom feeder response.
Mm-hmm. And we see that a lot on Facebook. That's where, we were so thankful to have Facebook bless that relationship with Oracle. I can exclude. So like I'm working with multiple buy here, pay here's right now. I think that's a great opportunity, especially when I can target by credit score. So I'm hitting 600 beacons and below with these ads for the buy here, pay here's, and that's paying off.
So you're targeting the bottom feeders and you're getting plenty of them. But
yeah.
when you want to target qualified buyers for a franchise dealer, usually that's going to be a 600 credit score or better to be a real deal.
Yeah. Well, and even independents. Like I was, as I was thinking through the buy here, pay here's, I've got an independent that, they're crushing it every month after month. And when we first started working together, his previous company, again, was generating a lot of what were classified as leads. They were spending so much time funneling through that crap to get to the real leads. That was one of the things we wanted to address.
So your relationship with Oracle is going to give you a soft pull credit score, so you know who you're dealing with, and probably going to tell you a little more information about them, isn't it?
We don't see that info. It's bucketed, so I can go into the ad tool and say, hit everybody with a 600 beacon or below, or like in this.
So you really don't have to analyze that data. That data is just sifted out for you.
Right. Yeah, it's private. But so this other independent, we wanted to fix that right away. And, it does take time to kind of hone in on the targeting. Like you're not going to hit it first try. So, we always have a meeting 10 days in, 7 to 10 days in after we start working together, just to get feedback, kind of review initial results, things like that. And the guy's like, hey, we are getting activity, but some of these people can't buy bread. And he goes, it's kind of the same thing I was dealing with. I'm starting to wonder about Facebook, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, whoa. Like I can hone in on the quality. Tell me more about what you're dealing with. What's the problem? And it was, get me done's all over Facebook. So
in other words, would you rather have 16,000 unqualified leads that you have to sift through, or would you rather have 5,000 people that can buy and you don't have to sift through a lot of it?
Right. So yeah, we kind of hit some demographic data and stuff in there to clean up, or to get a higher level of client, because they don't do second secondary finance. They want like 650s and above. So we worked with that and honed right in on the quality. So that's the big thing. Like you can do a lot of this on your own in the dealership, but the data is so important, and the targeting that's available through Facebook so much greater than Google. It's like, how can you wrap your head around hiring somebody to manage your Google AdWords, which there is a lot of set it and forget it, asleep at the wheel trash out there.
Oh, and I have seen so-called digital agencies that are in great favor with the manufacturers, especially General Motors. They are strictly cut and paste. Everybody gets the same thing. I mean, it's just incredible.
I was looking at Anthony Santangelo's comment. He said he's got a whole training class watching us right now. That's pretty cool.
I like Anthony.
Yeah.
So anyway, give me some more advice. What should a dealer do?
Like I say, aside from sitting down and just actually creating the account, I'd have a plan, a dedicated budget, a way to track it. Definitely have to have a way to track it, and then determine from there, is this something that makes sense for me to try to juggle on my own, or do I need a partner? Would this person be better off spending efforts in other areas and allowing a vendor partner like Dealer Authority, or there's plenty of others out there, but I like to think we stand out on top. But wrap your head around having a Facebook budget and a healthy one. Like we recommend a minimum of $1,000 dedicated to ads. Like I said,
that would be a raw minimum. I mean, if you're selling 120, 130 units, which is about the average franchise dealer production today, you're selling 130. That's the big guys and the little guys all thrown into a mesh. But you're selling 120, 130 units. You need to put $4,000 or $5,000 out there.
Yeah, I've got dealerships that are spending 500 with us, and I've got dealerships that are spending 10 grand. It's all over.
Yeah, the thing is, right now cars are selling, and when cars are selling incredible rate, and dealers are all of a sudden think they're bulletproof and invisible, but it's going to slow down. It always does. We're in an election year. As we get closer to the election, the more skittish the consumers are going to be, the more they're going to tighten up. Every election year this happens. October and November usually crash in an election year. And so dealers are having a lot of results right now, but to get on top of it right now, you need to really do some aggressive advertising. And because it's not, this party's not going to last forever. And I'll tell you that right now. How do they get in touch with Dealer Authority? How do they get in touch with you?
I'll give my cell. It's 937.
Wait a second. The dog is a slow typer. 937
405
3750. Okay, let's see.
Text or whatever. And then my email is jeff@dealerauthority.com.
Okay, well check that out one time first.
Nice, looks good. Sorry. And we kind of teed this up about the third parties. I'd say, if you're spending $6-8 grand a month on a third party, and typically it's multiples, you shave a couple grand out of there and play with it. I mean, if you can cancel a $6,500 a month service and not miss a beat, which most people, you'll see it in the tribe all the time, like, whoa, I finally cut the cord. And
the what?
Why not? But
there is no tribe. There is no tribe. Wait. That's an urban myth.
Oops.
I've heard about that.
You made the ultimate sin. Oh no.
There There is no such thing as the tribe.
Anyway, maybe before you cut that cord, shave a couple grand out of there and just play with it. See what you can do in there. And I guarantee you're going to get a taste. You're definitely going to get a taste of the power of Facebook. And I hope you do. And even if you don't end up coming to me, that's going to make your dealership stronger. You're going to, Facebook is the beast. I can't say enough about the ads, and the fact that people are peeling away budget from Google to go to Facebook says a lot. You can hone in on the quality. You can
people come directly to you. One thing we know today is nobody fills out a form.
No.
The public is, I'm not filling out a form, and that's where the lead providers lost their edge, because the consumers don't want to give that information.
Yeah. Well, and think about it, because you're right. The majority of people will not fill out a form, period. But the get me dones that you always hear about on Facebook, they'll do anything they have to, because they've been told no a dozen times. Well, maybe if I fill this form out, so that's why you're sifting through 1,600 of those to find a few that you can sell. But that's the thing. Like, you can control it, third party. You have no idea what's happening.
One thing about it, I've always said, 45 years ago, I was saying it. People with bad credit know who they are.
Yeah.
It's not a big surprise to them when you break it to them.
Well, and not hating on them. A lot of people get in bad situations, and it's not always in their control. Divorce causes a lot of wreckage. There's just so many variables.
There's an ad I ran in the Philadelphia Inquirer newspaper 20 years ago for Click Lewis Chevrolet in Hershey, Pennsylvania. We ran a full page in the Inquirer, and the titles was "Victims of Circumstance?" ? Because most people with bad credit consider themselves to be victims of circumstance.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
And the ad went on to say, perhaps circumstances beyond your control have caused your credit to suffer. And it went on and on and on. Let us help. At Click Lewis, we believe everybody has the right to own a new car. We had to put another bus stop in front of the dealership. We had so much traffic.
Oh, no.
That ad, and I made a mistake. I put a full-size GMAC credit app in the ad. The ad was a full page. I had the full-size copywritten GMAC credit app in the ad.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. That ad was probably the most productive ad I've ever done in the history. There's a lot, depending what time in history it is, there's 60, 70% of consumers have a credit problem.
You're right. Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you're advertising on Facebook or any of the social media, I'm getting a lot of traction right now with LinkedIn, and I don't know how anybody would tap into that, but that's a much higher caliber customer. So social media in general, Facebook is the 800-pound gorilla, but there's other social media out there. Are you using any of that?
Yeah, I see you on LinkedIn. You've had LinkedIn figured out, since LinkedIn came out.
I've been a paid member, on a premium pay every month customer with LinkedIn since 2007. That's
crazy.
About the time they were born.
Yeah.
People say the old dog, he's old school. Hey, well, I had income producing websites in 1995.
Okay. Yeah, we use LinkedIn as a company, not for clients, but for ourselves. And then Instagram, we offer Instagram services, but I haven't seen that pay off like Facebook does. Like I like to refer to Instagram as a great billboard. Like, yeah, we advertise on there, but it's different than Facebook. Like Facebook, we're driving traffic to the website, right to the inventory or to a landing page, educating them on, the inventory, the why buy about us, all that. But with with Instagram, we're just really educating and billboarding right now. I just don't see it. Like, you can see it, and that's the importance of measuring it, because a lot of people are like, oh man, I love Instagram. Well, yeah, I don't like Instagram. I just don't like what I see as far as performance when you compare it to Facebook. And if everybody has extremely healthy budget on Facebook, then yeah, I could recommend spending a little more on Instagram. But until you get there, I'm pushing everybody to Facebook. Minimal budget on Instagram, like $300 or something like that. But
I'm telling people right now, television still has its place. When you buy a geo-fenced cable buy, that has its place. Newspaper is extremely effective if you are training a puppy. Maybe you got a parakeet.
Oh man,
that's about all newspaper. But radio and television still have their place.
I hope
mail still has its place.
This broadcast.
Ouch. We have in Gainesville, Georgia, we have a woman, Linda Beaver Toyota, and she is on Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy every single day, because on cable you can geofence your area. You can say, I just want these counties, I just want these cities. I mean, you can buy a specific area on a cable buy. And she says, if you're hearing this commercial, you're only 15 minutes away from us. And she knows that because that's what she bought. And I mean, that her sincerity and the way she does that commercial, they're one of the most greatly performing Toyota dealers in our market. And they use TV. So there's still other mediums besides the social media, besides the digital media, but still in all, the major part of your budget needs to be in digital media.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's funny. You just reminded me of a situation I was having after Internet Battle Plan. When I was down in Tampa, I came back and my commercials on my TV were all from that area. I mean, it was really screwed up. And I was basically screenshotting and sending them to the dealers, like, what kind of control do you have on your advertising? I'm sitting in, Cincinnati getting served up your commercials. Now, yeah, I did just visit, your area, but this went on for like 2 months. I kept seeing ads for Tampa car dealerships. I'm like, what is happening here? Like, that's another example of targeting. Targeting is very, very important because of relevance and, a lot of different reasons. But, that was
one thing I've noticed recently is if you visit a dealer's website, all of a sudden your Amazon on the sidebar starts cranking out similar things to what you looked at. And because some of our web providers are exporting that data, the customer, at least there's a pixel on there exporting data to Amazon. And I use Ghostery. I don't know, are you familiar with Ghostery?
Yeah. Yeah.
You can put Ghostery up there and it'll show you everybody that a website is exporting the information to. And I'm starting to see Amazon on some of the predominant web providers now that they say, well, it's because of Alexa. No, quit it. All of a sudden somebody hits your website and the next thing you know, start getting Amazon offering similar business.
Yeah. Yeah. You mentioned the Pixel, and I said early on, get that installed sooner than later on your from your dealership Facebook page, because there's a lot of cool things you can do with that. We're actually doing behavioral retargeting, not just standard retargeting, but behavioral. It's all these if-thens. That thing is incredible. It is a conversion beast. Like I use the term, it was pretty bad, but I slipped and I said, this thing is like clubbing baby seals. That's just a term I heard a long time ago. I slipped out and
that might have been a Ziegler quote.
Did you just say clubbing baby seals? Like we were in a meeting.
This is the easiest, clubbing baby seals. I have said that. I don't know where the first time I heard it was. Absolutely.
it's amazing. The pixel and the information it provides, I can basically guide a prospect that hasn't taken any action on your site other than visiting it. That you don't know who it is, you don't have any contact info. I can guide them through the steps of the sale, get them to schedule a test drive, encourage them to fill out the credit app, serve up a Wi-Fi video, and all the while it's, if they do this, then that type thing, all the way down to an incentive. If they go through that gauntlet of pixel fired ads and still do nothing, then I can hit them with an incentive, because we know they're in market because of the targeting. They've been to other dealership websites, all the third parties, they've been to your website multiple times. People don't go to a dealership website to hang out. No. They're in market. So serve up an incentive. Hey, they've reached that gauntlet. And I just tell the dealerships, it's like, they're definitely in market, but I don't think they're in market with you because they haven't taken any action. Now it's time to hit them with, an incentive and see what happens. And we see a lot of people roll over.
Local search is really important. That you're basically selling in your own market.
Yeah, it's the thing.
So the pixel, social media, we beat all around the bush. I think we basically covered the subject. What would you like to say as we close this broadcast out? What would you like to say to people?
If I'm not opposed, and I don't know everything. I'm not the end all be all, but I offer a lot of advice. If somebody at a dealership wants to get started on this and try it on our own, my contact info is on there, Jeff at Dealer Authority, or you can call or text. I'll walk you through some of it. But
okay, so you're offering, giving them some free advice?
Oh yeah, I do it all the time.
Okay, so anybody that needs any free advice on what they're doing right now, they can call you, and no obligation. You're going to give them some free information. Yeah.
I do it every day. I send out 20, 30 videos of people I've never even talked to. I'm just looking at their Facebook page or their website or whatever. I'm trying to lead with some value. Like, if you never call me back, I just gave you some things to work on. But if you get in there and you decide that that's not worth your time, that your efforts are better spent somewhere else, then call me. I'll take care of it.
Jeff, you are a great friend to me personally. To a lot of people I know, you and I are involved in some projects with some mythological groups on Facebook.
Yeah, it's always a good time getting together with you, Jim. I swear you are immortal.
Well, people say, I faced death about a month ago. I mean, I came right on the brink of dying, and I spit in death's face and just came back. And I don't know that I'm immortal, but then again, I don't know that I'm not immortal. I haven't got there yet.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, you've been put through it this year, and you came out on top. It's definitely a blessing, but at the same time, you're a fighter. You
Being
are
a cancer survivor. Only problem is, look what it does to your clothes. And now we got a pandemic. I can't even go out and shop new wardrobe. I'm wearing my old fat man clothes. I have lost 65 pounds.
The camera view is from neck up because you've been working from home so long. You're probably not wearing pants. That's an old home trick.
I had a guest on my show the other day that actually was wearing a suit coat and a bathing suit. He stood up and I went, "What?" The talking heads thing, you needed to dress from here up. Well, anyway, Jeff Glackin, Dealer Authority. You got a digital question, you need some advice on your advertising. I mean, the guy's offered it for free. His phone number is flashing across the screen right now. His email address. I mean, he's accessible, and he's a good friend to me. I've known this man for how long?
At least a decade.
At
Probably
least a
longer.
decade. I've been kicking around 45 years, but in the car business. But
oh yeah, you got an amazing career.
Horace Greeley said, "Go west, young man," and I was selling wagons.
Oh no.
Listen, big guy, it's been a pleasure. I'll get this posted around. We generally get 20, 30 people watch the initial broadcast, but thousands watch the replay. So let's see what happens here. Thank you very much for being with us.
Yeah, thank you.
Stick around a second.